Welcome back. Parole hearings set to begin for the Menendez brothers today. They've spent more than 3 decades behind bars for the 1989 murders of their parents. Eric will be facing the board today. Lyle's case will be heard separately tomorrow. Former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani joining us live with a preview of what we could see over the next couple days. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, John. Thanks for having me.
And give us a sense, what's going to happen today? What is this proceeding going to look like?
Well, this proceeding is going to be conducted virtually over Zoom or some other platform. Eric will start today. He's going to appear from Donovan State Prison in San Diego, and Lyle's hearing will be tomorrow. And there's going to be 2 or 3 commissioners. And at this hearing, the district attorney's office is going to oppose release. Mark Garagos, who represents the brothers, of course, is going to argue for parole. But importantly, John, the victims' family members, Jose and Kitty Menendez, will be there, and they'll provide their input. And we know that what makes this case unique is that all the living family members of Jose and Kitty Menendez, they support release. So that's going to be a big factor during today and tomorrow's hearings.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Will the brothers be able to give some kind of opening statement? Does that happen?
It's more informal than a typical court process. It's administrative, but they will absolutely be questioned. They will talk about the murders, their conduct in prison, and we got a little bit of a preview of that during the resentencing hearing. Now, the district attorney's office has argued against release, saying that the brothers lied about what happened and never fully accepted responsibility. But I expect to see a very different Eric Menendez today and Lyle tomorrow, expressing remorse and acceptance of responsibility for what they did.
And what are the big factors that the parole board will be looking at?
One of the biggest factors is the psychological risk assessment. Do the brothers pose an unreasonable risk to the public? And although there have been some violations in prison, they've been related to cell phones and maybe potentially drugs. It's unclear. There really hasn't been any violent acts during the past 35 years. One of the brothers got his college degree, they've gotten married. So all in all, for 2 individuals who have spent decades in prison, they've been more or less model inmates. So I think that's going to be a factor that supports both the resentencing, which already happened, and parole, which I expect to also happen.
Okay. Is there a possibility one of them could get parole and the other not? Is that something that's a possibility?
There's a theoretical possibility, but I think it's highly unlikely. I think what we're going to see is both brothers being recommended parole or not. And regardless of what the parole board's recommendation is, ultimately it's going to come down to Governor Gavin Newsom. Under California law, he has the sole authority to accept or reject any parole board recommendation. So even if the brothers are recommended release, it's not going to happen today until it goes to the governor's desk.
And that's an interesting part of this. The governor, he hasn't said it outright, but there are indications he may want to run for president. And you have to wonder if politics is going to play a role in this, because nationally it's kind of a different public the governor's playing to than California.
Absolutely, John. And you nailed it. It's not just law in this case, it's politics that's layered on top of it. And, reading the tea leaves, I do think the governor will parole the Menendez brothers. He ordered that risk assessment before they were even resentenced to the possibility of parole. So I think it's something that he's been talking about, something he's going to do. But you're absolutely right. It's no secret that Newsom has his eyes on the Oval Office in 2028. And I think the Menendez brothers case will be a big issue during the next presidential election.
And even if they're denied parole, they do get another chance. Is it every year they get to come up to the parole board?
If parole is denied, they're going to have to wait a few years, usually at least 3 years. Sometimes they may have to wait up to another 15 years. I don't think it's going to be that long, but you can't go before the parole board every year. The commissioners will decide when their next parole date. And of course, even if they are denied parole, Newsom, with a stroke of his pen, can commute the brothers' sentence or even pardon them entirely. So regardless of what happens today and tomorrow, the Menendez brothers' fate lies in the hands of Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. I know there have been a number of documentaries on the subject, which really seems like it's prompted a lot of the court activity we're seeing. Neama Rahmani, thanks so much for the information. Always great to hear from you.
Of course, John. Thanks for having me as always. Have a great day.
You too.